Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to my shed. My subject today is a big one. Bicycle handlebar bags, cockpit luggage, whatever you want to call it. Things that you want around your handlebars to hand and general stuff for cycling about. Now, most cyclists aren't always on tour. There's a few lucky ones on YouTube, but most of us were either commuting, going out for a ride, or going for an errand, or out to a friend's house, something like that. So you don't need a huge amount of stuff. But you always need some stuff. So you always need your phone. You always need a little toolkit, maybe an inner tube, some keys, knickknacks like that. So it doesn't matter where you're going, you're going to need those. And then where are you going to keep them, and what do you need access to? If you've got a saddle pack or something on the back of you, you can't really access that terribly easily when you're cycling along. I mean, some people can, but it's not ideal, is it? There's nothing easier, though, than having something right plonked down in front of you. You reach down, get what you want. If you've got some food in there, or your phone's ringing, you want to see who it was, or maybe take your phone out, do a bit of filming of yourself. I mean, I don't know. There's a million things, but having stuff to hand is good. So that got me to bar bags in the first place, really. Obviously, if you're going further afield, there's no bags big enough to take, well, maybe there is, but like a laptop and big stuff like that. You know, you're better off with something at the back for that. But just general, like leisure riding or club rides or anything like that, the front seems the best place for me. However, there are a number of challenges with having on the front. You don't want anything that's going to constrict where your hands go. I mean, I've got a drop handlebar bike. I mean, I suppose, I don't know, I'm a road cyclist primarily, maybe a tourer once or twice a year, but that's it. So there's only a constricted amount of space you can have at the front as well. I don't want anything that's going to get in the way of my hands, so it's got to be off the bars. And also, I don't know how much I'm always going to want to take. I don't always want to take a big amount. Sometimes I take my camera, sometimes I won't. So I want a bit of variety. I want some options there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some of my thinking. We'll have a look at the bike now, some of the bags that I've got and how I use them, and I've got a great idea for something you might like to try as well, to come up with your ideal bag. So let's go over to the bike now, have a look at the stuff I've got, and we'll have a chat about it. So here's my handlebars. Fairly standard setup, I'd say. Well, it's not that standard. I've got this shifter here, which is it's a co-motion shifter. I've got a roll-off hub on this bike. I've got a bell there, and on the stem, clip for my Garmin, which I pretty much always have when I go out. And on the front here, this is a Rixson & Cowell click fix bracket. It attaches with some cables, wire string that wraps around there, and it's solid as a rock. And that is at the heart of this story, really. So the first bar bag I ever got was when I got this, and it is this one here, which is the Ortlieb Ultimate 6. I think it's actually 7 litres worth of storage in there. It's magnetic back on it, so it opens fairly easily. And there's a good lot of space inside there. It clips on the bike, as easy as that, and it's solid as a rock. It keeps its shape, and you can chuck whatever you need in there. I mean, I've always got this little pack. It's got an inner tube in there, tyre levers, and a little tool. I always need that. That goes in there. My phone, I always put that in there, in that slot there. And I've got a little camera as well. They'll take with me sometimes. So that goes in there as easy as anything as well. And there's acres more space. So if you're going anywhere a long way, that's a fairly good option. Now there's a couple of things wrong with it. Firstly, if it's not full, it rattles around. It makes a noise when you're riding along. Also, it doesn't, well, it did it that time. It closes pretty nicely. These magnets hold it pretty well. Little clip on there to make sure it won't open. And then if you are going along, you can just yank it open, reach in there, get your food or your camera, whatever you want, close it again, and off you go. So I like that, but as I've just said, it's a little bit too big. You need to cram it with stuff to stop things rattling around in there. Well, then I remembered from another bag I've got, this item, which is what's it say? Tenber, never compromise, insert number 9 it says on it. So this is a Tenber camera bag insert. And that fits in there extremely nicely. So then I've got a nice little hole in there, that's Velcro, that'll move around. My camera will sit in there, solid as a rock, and then you can chuck anything else in there. It's all padded, it doesn't make a noise when you're cycling along, and that was a huge improvement. But I still felt like I've got a lot of empty space in here. I'm gaining weight all the time, and also this bag, brilliant as it is, it's not terribly aero and it's not terribly attractive either. I mean, it's a kind of big lump on the front of the bike. The back of the bike looks great, but the front's got this thing on it. So I said, well, what else? I need something smaller. And that is where this came in. This is the Ortlieb, I don't know, can't remember the name of it, the smaller bag. You can find it anywhere on the internet. Good thing about it is it uses the same fitting on the back, which goes onto there. Lovely, solid as a rock. It holds its own shape, so it doesn't have to be full all the time. You can get to it when you're cycling along, but you can't see what you're doing when you're in there because this is sticking up in your way. And it's got the same problem as the bigger bag, and that is it's hollow, plastic and slidey inside, so anything you've got in there rattles around, so you end up having to shove it full of stuff as well. Well, I don't know, I knew this actually before I even bought it, but it looks really awful. I mean, these sticking out side bits, it's just not nice. I mean, it looks immaculate because I've only ever taken it out once or twice, and it looks dorky on the front of the bike too, so yeah, that wasn't going to do it either. So then, I don't know, I spent a lot of time on the internet looking at stuff. The stuff I found next was thanks to Katie Kookaburra for this one. She is a raver about this Topeak bar top bag. So it goes on the top bar of the bike and sits just behind. I'll push this forward a bit, you're not going to see much better. So it sits on your top bar behind there, velcros around the steerer tube and the top tube, and it's got a lovely zip that opens with one hand, and it's a nice size, and it's padded, and you've got all of those good things. So it's the right size. It's got this waterproof hole for putting a wire through, which is handy if you've got a charger in there and you want to charge your Garmin, so you can have a cable coming out of there as you're going along. That's great. But there's a couple of things I don't like about it. Firstly, I don't like the way that it rams up against the steerer, and that rubs on there when you're turning. I mean, it's not a big deal, I just don't like it. And the second thing is, it doesn't come on and off terribly easily. It's on or off, you know. You've got to... there are buckles to do up, so you're not going to walk away and leave that on the bike. Plus, I mean, it's reasonably expensive, so you know. Anyway, it's got to come off. It doesn't come off easily. But most of all, I noticed when I stop and get off the saddle, all my gentleman's parts are pressed up against the bag, so it's kind of in the way. Not when you're riding, obviously, but it was too bad. I'm not sure my knees touched it either as I was cycling along, but I felt like it was there. So no to that as well. Well, obviously I'm very hard to please. I can see that. But now comes the clever bit. I've got some time ago I bought this Alpkit. What's it called? It's called a stem cell. So that is just a soft bag with Velcro attachments on it. And the idea is that it velcros around the handlebars or in there, and unfortunately it failed for me because it was in the way again. You know, if it's there, it's in the way of your hands. It was a nuisance. I can't have it on that side because that's where I'm changing gear. So I chucked it in the cupboard. Well, how wrong I was, because this is the bit where you might like this idea. This fitting that is on the back of this small Ortlieb bag. You can buy replacements of these. You can buy them separately. I'll show you a picture of it. I got mine from Amazon. It is a adapter platter baggie. Well, it's not. That's not the exact one, but this is for a basket. But what you get with that is you get the outside bit that you can see there, and then a flat plate that goes on the inside. You bolt it together, and you can clamp it to anything. So that is exactly what I did with this bag. Now, this bag, there it is. All I had to do for that was to, I held that up against the back of it, marked 4 holes, then I bashed them through with a big nail. On the inside is the plate I mentioned, with the 4 bolts coming through, and that thing clips on the same click fix setting. Now, why do I like this so much? It's small, it's padded so things don't rattle around inside it. You can get in and out of it when you're going along. It's a nice size, and okay, it's not the greatest looking thing in the world, and it's not waterproof either, but that isn't really that much of a problem for me. You know, I've got a little waterproof bag if I need it, which can go inside there, or just use a polythene bag for your phone if you really need to. But there it is. So when at the start I started talking about your ideal bag, you could put one of these on just about anything you've got. I mean, I don't know if you've got a man bag or something like that, and you're not bothered about putting some holes in it. You could put them in the side of it, go on the front of there, and then when you're, I don't know, walking around the streets of Milan or whatever, you'd have it over your shoulder, and you're good to go when you get back to the bike. So whether you get one of these or whatever you get, these brackets on their own I think are amazing. If you had a wider bag, you could maybe put a bit of hard plastic on the inside to hold the shape of the bag. 1001 things you could do with that. So that's it. So those are some bar bags, some of the things I like and don't like about them, and this is your gateway to the perfect bar bag. So that's it. Right, so there we are. I know that was a bit of an epic story, but I hope you got something from it, or we've got some ideas. If you did like the video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video as well, and if you've got any comments, I'll try to answer them. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.